Hello, and welcome back to the King's English. If you haven't already seen it, you should watch the first video on how to learn English and some helpful tips and advice for learning English well and quickly. In this video, we are looking at CEFR levels. After this video, you should complete the CEFR test. This will give you an idea of your level in English and which of the King's English videos you should watch. An introduction to CEFR levels. What is CEFR? Common European Framework of Reference for Languages. A global standard for describing language ability. Think of it like a universal ruler to measure how well someone can use a language. It's a framework, not a test. CEFR, it describes what you can actually do with the language. Why do we have it? The main goal of CEFR is to make language skills easy to understand, no matter where you are in the world. This means your CEFR level will mean the same thing whether you learned English in France, Japan, or Brazil. It's super helpful for teachers, employers, and most importantly, for you as a learner. CEFR was developed by the Council of Europe, a big group of language experts and educators created this system back in the early 2000s. The CEFR covers all your main language skills. It looks at your ability in listening, reading, speaking with others, and writing. Basically, it focuses on practical communication, how you use English in real life situations. The CEFR organizes learners into 6 main levels. These go from total beginner all the way up to highly proficient. They are typically grouped into 3 categories. A. Basic user. B. Independent user. C. Proficient user. Each category has 2 parts. An overview of CEFR levels A1 to C2. A1 beginner. A basic user. A1 beginner. If you find it difficult to understand me now, it is likely that you are in A1 beginner. A1 beginner. You can understand simple conversations. Introduce yourself and others. You can maybe give your name, tell someone your job, and tell someone where you are from. You can also ask someone this information. Ask and answer questions about personal details. Interact in a simple way. Things like, how are you? I have a dog. She works at home. Grammar. Very basic sentence structures. Very simple grammar, nothing complicated. Words like mother, brother, sister. Phrases such as I have a brother, I have 2 sisters. Present simple for routines. Verb to be, I am, you are, he is, etc. Basic have got. Simple articles. Articles such as a, an, the. When and how to use them. Singular, plural nouns. Basic personal and possessive pronouns. I, my, he, his. Simple prepositions of place and time. In, on, at. Words like at, on, to, around, near, close to. For phrases such as on Monday, at 12 o'clock, in 2 weeks. And for place, in London, to Paris, from home. Vocabulary. Everyday words related to personal information. Name, age, nationality. Everyday words and expressions for greetings, family, simple jobs, common objects, food and drink, basic numbers, days of the week, colours, common verbs, go, eat, drink, like, want, work, live. As an A1 beginner, you can understand simple conversations, introduce yourself and others, ask and answer questions about personal details, interact in a simple way. A2 Pre-Intermediate. A. Basic user. A2. Pre-intermediate. A2 pre-intermediate, you can understand sentences related to areas of most immediate relevance. Grammar. Present continuous for actions happening now. Now being able to use the ing form. Past simple. Regular verbs and common irregular verbs. To be able to talk about something that happens a lot, something that is happening now, and something that happened yesterday, for example. Future with will and going to for basic future plans. Comparatives and superlatives for simple adjectives. Big, bigger, the biggest. Small, smaller, the smallest. More prepositions. Down, around, near, close to. Modal verbs for basic ability. Can, can't. For obligation. Must. Basic question words. Who, what, where, when, why, how. Vocabulary. Expands to include common adjectives, adverbs of frequency, expressions for daily routines. Vocabulary expands to include words for shopping, travel, asking for directions, weather, leisure activities, a larger range of everyday nouns and verbs. As an A2 pre-intermediate learner, you can understand sentences related to areas of most immediate relevance. Communicate in simple and routine tasks. Describe in simple terms aspects of your background. B1 Intermediate. B. Independent user. The big difference between A and B level is your vocabulary and your use of grammar. B1 Intermediate. B1 Intermediate, you can understand the main points of regular situations. Produce simple texts on topics which are familiar or of personal interest. Describe experiences, events, dreams, and ambitions, and give explanations. Grammar. Present perfect simple. I have done. He has written. For experiences. Finished actions with present results. Unfinished actions. My favorite English tense. By B1 level, we start to look at the concept of perfect tenses. The present perfect simple takes some time to learn. It's not very quick. Luckily, you have a good teacher. More complex use of the past simple. I went. She saw. More complex use of the past continuous. You were doing. I was painting. Passive voice. It was built. They are produced. First conditional. If he goes to the party, I will too. If I finish early, I will see you there. Reported speech. He said that he had seen them leave. She wondered where they had gone. Various ways to express future plans. I am seeing John later. He is going to bring me that book. Using present continuous also for the future, for example, or to exaggerate habits which are annoying. Vocabulary. Vocabulary broadens to include topics such as. So now the vocabulary broadens, becomes bigger, so that you can talk about many different topics. Not just yourself, but abstract concepts too. Personal opinions, experiences, travel, work, education, current events in a simple way, health, technology, abstract concepts, expressing feelings, giving reasons, describing events. Phrasal verbs. Get around to. Think something through. Increased use of linking words. Due to. Because of. As a result. So as a B1 intermediate learner, you can understand the main points of regular situations, produce simple texts on topics which are familiar or of personal interest, describe experiences, events, dreams, and ambitions, and give explanations. B2 Upper Intermediate. B. Independent User. B2 Upper Intermediate. By B2, normally you should be okay to understand me when I speak a little bit quicker. Because I teach English and I make videos, I slow my English down a little bit. At B2, you can understand most of what a person says when they don't slow down, when they don't adjust their accent also. B2, Upper Intermediate, you can understand the main ideas of complex text on both concrete and abstract topics. Interact with a degree of fluency and spontaneity in regular interaction with native speakers. Produce clear, detailed text on a wide range of subjects and explain a viewpoint on a topical issue. By B2 level in English, usually you can write your emails without cheating. So no AI, no translator, you just write it. Of course, there is always room for mistakes. It happens. But your mistakes, small ones, and not a lot. Grammar. Present perfect continuous. I have been doing. Past perfect simple. I had done. Second conditional. If I had more time off, I would go to Japan. Third conditional. If I had had enough money, I would have gone to Japan. More advanced reported speech. Modal verbs for speculation, deduction, certainty. Using modals and using them well is a big part of B2 level. A wider range of phrasal verbs. In terms of vocabulary, you start to use phrasal verbs. Get up to, get around to, think something through, etc. A bit more than before. A wider range of idiomatic expressions. More complex use of relative clauses. To whom, in which, from whence. increased use of passive voice. Vocabulary covers a wider range of topics, including academic, professional, abstract. Vocabulary 4, discussing complex social issues, expressing nuances in opinion, justifying arguments, describing emotions in detail, increases vocabulary use in, collocations, words which often go together. Idiomatic expressions. So as a B2 upper intermediate learner, you can understand the main ideas of complex text on both concrete and abstract topics, interact with a degree of fluency and spontaneity in regular interaction with native speakers, produce clear, detailed text on a wide range of subjects, and explain a viewpoint on a topical issue. C1 Advanced. C. Proficient User. By C1 level, probably you have some English-speaking friends. You can understand almost all of what they tell you. You can have very detailed conversations and a deeper connection with English speakers by this point. Your mistakes between B and C level should be much less when you reach C2. The big difference between B level and C level, really by C you make fewer mistakes. C is the higher level. C1 Advanced. C1 Advanced, you can understand a wide range of demanding, longer texts and recognize implicit meaning. Express yourself fluently and spontaneously. Use language flexibly and effectively for social, academic, and professional purposes. Produce clear, well-structured, detailed text on complex subjects. Grammar. Mastery of all verb tenses, including more complex uses of perfect and continuous forms. All of the tenses that we use on a daily basis, present simple, present continuous, present perfect, all the future tenses, everything for the past, conditionals, etc. By now, you should be quite sure that you are correct with these tenses. Advanced modal verbs for subtle meanings. Mixed conditionals. Inversion for emphasis. So, I had never met someone so interesting becomes never had I met someone so interesting. Using ways to speak English more like a native speaker than as an English learner is the big difference by C level. Participle clauses. Knowing she loved reading, Richard bought her a book. Starting in the new year, the new policy bans cars in the city centre. Advanced discourse markers. By the way, incidentally, in any case, as a matter of fact, complex conjunctions, as soon as, by the time, whereas, whether, nuanced use of articles and quantifiers, plenty of, a lack of, a great deal of, vocabulary, extensive range of vocabulary including less common idioms, nuanced synonyms. To know the difference between, for example, real and true. By C1, no problem. To know the difference between huge and enormous, for example. Academic and technical terms. Complex collocations. Precise vocabulary to express subtle differences in meaning relating to abstract philosophical concepts. Professional fields. So as a C1 advanced learner, you can understand a wide range of demanding longer texts and recognize implicit meaning. Express yourself fluently and spontaneously. Use language flexibly and effectively for social, academic, and professional purposes. Produce clear, well-structured, detailed text on complex subjects. C2 Proficiency. C. Proficient User. C2 Proficiency. C2 is the last level. The biggest difference between C2 and C1 is that at C2 you really should be quite like a native speaker. Someone might be surprised if you tell them, oh, I'm not British, I'm not American, I'm not Australian. The person might say, oh wow, but your English is so good. This would be around C2. You can watch a movie without subtitles, you can have a conversation with anyone about anything. Like even in your first language, you might sometimes look for a word. By this point, that should be quite natural, that the words are coming. and you don't have to think about lots of words, maybe one on occasion. C2 proficiency, you can understand with ease virtually everything heard or read. Summarize information from different spoken and written sources. Reconstructing arguments and accounts in a coherent presentation. Express yourself spontaneously, very fluently and precisely. Differentiating finer shades of meaning, even in more complex situations. Grammar, native command of all grammatical structures, even highly complex and subtle ones. Flawless use of inversion, ellipsis, substitution, other advanced rhetorical devices. Vocabulary, comprehensive mastery of vocabulary, including idiomatic expressions. This is a bit more than "it's raining cats and dogs," or "don't put all your eggs in one basket." We need a lot of expressions, many expressions. In English we love expressions. It's the language of Shakespeare, so we like to use some poetry in everyday speech. Colloquialisms, highly specialized lexis, ability to differentiate fine shades of meaning and use figurative language effectively. Possess a vocabulary range that rarely leads to awkward pauses in communication. So as a C2 proficiency learner, you can understand with ease virtually everything heard or read. Summarize information from different spoken and written sources, reconstructing arguments and accounts in a coherent presentation. Express yourself spontaneously, very fluently and precisely, differentiating finer shades of meaning even in more complex situations. It's quite a lot of information, and of course to watch this video you might not necessarily know your own level. That is why I have created the CEFR language test. I have provided the link to the test. You should now do the test so that you have some idea of your level. The questions in the test are designed to show all the different levels. So if you're A1 and you don't understand all of the questions, the test should know that you are A1. If you don't have any big problems understanding the majority of the questions and the answers, and by the end you have a good score, you're more likely to be nearer the top end. This test is just to give you an approximation of your level, so that you know where to start with the King's English. Thank you very much for watching. Please feel free to do the CEFR test. And please don't forget to like and subscribe.